We here at FLoC have a real treat for all of our followers. Today I'm joined by Paula Fowler, Managing Partner at local leading law firm QualitySolicitors FJG, to provide us with some valuable insight and information as to what a leading law firm looks for in potential candidates for its various roles. Paula, thank you for joining us this morning.
Pleasure.
Paula, what qualities and attributes do you look for when employing potential paralegals or trainee solicitors?
The first thing that I look for is to see that their personality will fit with the team that they're potentially joining. The reason for this is that pretty much everything else you can train for, but the personality does have to fit with the team so that it works as well as it should. There's lots of other smaller things such as their enthusiasm, willingness to work hard, the ability for them to be able to research and generally know the kind of career path that they're looking for, really.
How far back do you look on CVs? For example, are GCSE grades important?
I look all the way back to person's education as far as their CV is concerned. If that person has only ever been in education, then the GCSE results are very important because that's the only gauge I've got so far as that individual is concerned. However, if the person has a lot more life behind them, then, if it's about 20 years since they've done their GCSEs, then the exam results aren't that relevant.
Are grades the be-all and end-all?
It depends, really. GCSE and A-level grades aren't that important to us as a firm. But so far as a degree is concerned, if I've got a choice between somebody that's got a 2-2 or a 2-1 and a first, I'm going to go for those people that have achieved higher. If someone has got a 2-2, I won't automatically rule them out. I'll look at the circumstances as to why they haven't necessarily done as well as they could have done, and I'll dig into the background behind that. For example, if I had a person that was working 2 jobs whilst doing their degree part-time, that's a plausible excuse that I would take into consideration.
What do you feel makes a potential paralegal or trainee solicitor stand out at both the CV and interview process? Is work experience relevant?
Work experience is very relevant. So far as the CV is concerned, if somebody has got the Duke of Edinburgh Award on their CV, they will always get an interview, and that's with most employers. They can make the CV stand out by showing that they've got extracurricular activities that they're interested in, such as walking, climbing, travelling, whatever. From an interview perspective, their enthusiasm needs to shine through and an interest in what they're wanting to achieve, and it's that will really help them on their way.
How important is commercial awareness for all aspiring trainees and paralegals?
It's very important they have a good commercial awareness so that they can manage their own expectations when they're in the workplace. They also need to have a good understanding of current affairs so that they can have conversations with people on a daily basis and make themselves look interesting.
How do you feel about gap years and career breaks?
I think they're fabulous. I think it's great that people could go off, experience a bit of life, do the wild things they want to do before actually settling down in their career, rather than those people that just focus on their careers and just wish they'd done these things and then need to take a year out later on.
What's your pet peeve when interviewing potential candidates?
I have many, but if we start off with the wet fish handshake, lack of eye contact, mad staring eye contact, and if you combine that with dirty fingernails or dirty shoes, mad ties are always a turn off straight away, and if you're showing more flesh than you'd normally show to anybody else. Other than that, I think anything goes.
Once appointed, what do you expect of paralegals and trainees with regards to their performance levels and progression?
I expect them to be heavily self-motivated because they will drive their own progression along with the supervisor who is responsible for their training. So far as their progression is concerned, the training contracts do last for 2 years, and by the end of those 2 years I do expect them to have achieved a certain level. It's up to them and their training provider to make sure that it's paced out over those 2 years and they're not behind at the end of it. So far as the standard of work is concerned, I expect perfection. Nothing but excellence is good enough. And as long as they keep on trying, as long as it's excellent in the end, that'll do.
Finally, Paula, what's your opinion of the FLoC organisation and what it's doing to help aspiring trainees, paralegals and other legal professionals in Colchester and beyond?
I think what you're doing is wonderful. I don't know of any other organisations where people at the start of their legal career can go for advice and assistance, or even if they're currently in employment, if they have a problem, they can bring it to FLoC and you can advise accordingly. I think it's wonderful.
Thank you, Paula.